guys? Shawn Ryan, Vigilance lead here with Jeff Reid, Frozen Trident Kennels, and we're in Two Rivers, Alaska. We're going to do kind of like a little scar review here. So, Jeff, why don't you tell us a little bit about this thing?
All right, man. So we got the Scar 17 from FN. It's a 7.62 by 51 is what it shoots. You can also throw 308 in there. It's got some cool features on it. Everything is ambidextrous, so we could take literally the safety, the mag release, the slide release, and the charging handle and flip it over on this side. So if you're left-handed, that's kind of a cool feature. Right now with this one, we got the L-can 4x with a laser and a light on it, and yeah.
I put this, I just kind of set it up best. You know, I didn't use this ever, you know. Yeah, this is just the only one I've ever shot.
Yeah, so with the one I ran this downrange in Afghanistan, and I had it set up similar. I had the 6x L-can laser light on it as well. I had the foregrip. Yeah, it looked just like this thing.
Cool. I put the 1-4 L-can on just to try to save some weight, because I took this thing out of the box and it was like light as a feather, and then I put this on and it's like, yeah, it almost feels double the weight.
Yeah, you get this thing heavy quick.
So, you know, and then with the round size and everything. But anyways, we're gonna go, let's take this thing to the range and give it a test run, and then I want to hear about what you thought about it, using it in combat for real. So, all right, let's do it. All right, so me and Jeff just got back from the range. We got some good news and we got some bad news. And while we were hammering out some rounds with this thing, I talked to Jeff a lot about kind of his experience in combat with it, actually using it in the SEAL teams and engaging, you know, real turds with it. So let's start with some of the pros.
All right, the biggest thing I like about this gun is it's pretty freaking accurate. Out of the box, without doing anything to it, it says it's a 1-minute gun. I believe it. I mean, you can shoot this thing real accurate at up to 800 yards with the freaking 6x L-can easy. So that's the big thing I like about it. We talked a little bit about how everything's ambidextrous, so you can modify it if you're left-handed and make it easy. A 308 round is pretty awesome down in Afghanistan where you're fighting from longer distance. So being able to switch it over from a 5.56 to having an actual assault rifle where you can shoot the 308 or the 7.62 by 5.1 is actually a big benefit. And that's really why I went to this gun over the M4. Yeah, so other than that, I'm trying to think what else we got.
Some of the things I liked about it is I did a 9-round. It took me 9 rounds to zero this thing. And I zeroed it at 100 yards and shooting about, I would say, maybe a 2-inch group. And I took it out, as soon as I got done with those 9 rounds, I took it out and I was hammering steel at like 800 yards. Yeah. Like consistently. And I think I could have pushed at least out to 1,000, but I couldn't see past all the fucking weeds and shit in my way. So with the 4-power scope,
yeah, this gun's accurate. You can't argue against that.
And then, you know, the other thing, it looks pretty fucking cool.
Yeah,
so
looking cool is half of it.
Yep, that's everything. No, I'm just kidding, it's not everything. Let's talk about the cons. There's like actually a pretty long list of them. So we took this thing, we had 3 malfunctions. Yeah. And 3 malfunctions, 2 failure to feeds, and then
failure to eject, and then 2 failure to ejects, and then 1 double feed.
Yeah, I had the double feed, and yeah, and that happened within 40 rounds. So yeah, 3 malfunctions and 40 rounds. So 3 and 2 magazines. But what else? I mean,
so that's the biggest one, and that's not something that's new to just shooting this thing down here. Downrange, when I was in Afghanistan, I carried this thing for maybe a month, and then I shit canned it because of we were having malfunction after malfunction after malfunction. And the platoon we relieved over in Afghanistan already had like a folder where they were documenting, they were shooting the shit out of these and documenting how many malfunction they had, and it was a lot. So the teams were trying to get rid of this, and we were shooting a lot of them out of range and documenting how many malfunction we had, which were a lot. The other big thing I hate about this gun is this thing right here, the reciprocating bolt. Every time, especially if you're getting shot at, it's not always where you use your foregrip. If someone pops around the corner and you're taking rounds and trying to pie, a lot of times I would accidentally grab the magazine well, lift up and fire around, and I get my thumb caught on this thing as it goes back and forth.
yeah.
That's one of my biggest things I hate about this gun is that reciprocating bolt.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of shit you only find out by actually being in it, you know, being in the thick of it and with all the stress that, you know, comes with it. And, you know, and some of the things I don't like about this is it's so big. I mean, I think it's a cool gun to shoot and everything, but maneuverability, I mean, this thing is long, bulky. The stock is, you know what I mean? And I can tell you right now, I wouldn't want to be clearing a house with this damn thing. It's just too much.
I wouldn't want to be clearing the house with this thing because it malfunctions. On top of it being heavy.
Yep. And the bulkiness. You can't move fluidly, if that's even a word. But you know, and then the weight. You know, I mean, this thing with all the shit on it and all the rounds, I mean, it's...
Our standard loadout for this was 140 rounds. I mean, 140 of 7.62, man, that gets heavy. So you got to start weighing your options. Is it really worth carrying this, or could you carry a saw and have a gun that you can rely on?
Yeah. And then round counts. I mean, 5.56, you can carry probably, you know, at least twice as much ammo as you can with this bad boy. You know, the other thing is, and we're going to get into, you know, optics at the end, but, you know, it's kind of like a all-purpose type weapon like we were using, you know, the RM4s, you know, 10.5-inch M4s with. You get the EOTech with the, you know, the flip-up 4 power. This thing, even at 1 power, is like looking through a freaking toilet paper roll, you know, and maybe I just haven't done it enough, but I'm not really comfortable running through a house with, you know, real world looking through fucking
One thing
toilet
we did
paper
do
rolls.
is we would throw a red dot on top of your L-can. That helped out with that, but it's still, if you're gonna run an assault rifle, this is not a good one to be running. If you're gonna put your life on the line with it, I wouldn't trust it.
Yeah.
It's an awesome gun to take to a range like this and be able to hit small targets from a long ways away, because it can do that. I wouldn't trust my life on this gun.
Yeah. You know, I've heard a lot of guys also complain about the noise. And it probably sounds kind of stupid to everybody else, but when you're trying to communicate, engage, find out where the hell everybody's at, and you're next to the guy shooting this thing, you know.
And then you want to add extra weight, you throw that freaking can on that thing. It's adding extra weight to it, and that can doesn't really work that well anyway. It's still really freaking loud.
Is that what cam were you guys?
The one that came with this. I actually am not sure if it's made, who makes it or what, but the kit that we came with the guns, the can that came with it, it was not very good.
No shit. Well, that's a lot of cons. So, and you know, and to get that kind of, that's the kind of stuff he's talking about is you can only get from guys that have actually been there and used it. It's not some range monkey, you know, going on about how it is on a fucking flat range. One thing I get asked about all the time with this thing, and I'm not even really comfortable answering it, is the variance, you know, and the optics. What optic would I run on it? And like I said, I just put this 1 to 4 power on. Because I don't want to deal with the weight you know, that the 1 to 6 has. I do like, those of you that aren't familiar with the elk hand, it's not 1, 2, 4, it's 1 or 4. So, and I think it's the same with the 1 to 6, right?
Yeah, yep. I think it might be 2 by is the first one, and then to 6.
But what optics would you run on this thing?
So the reason I went with this to begin with is because the range of some of our fights we're getting in. When we were getting in fights that were like 900 to 1,000 yards away, where we get opened up with PKMs and AKs. So in order to combat that, the M4 just wasn't reaching out there. So I wanted something bigger, and to have an optic, I actually ran the 6 by Elcan on it. And that was actually fine, but whenever I started having misfires with it and malfunctions, I just went back to the M4. It just wasn't worth it, because even whenever we would go inside, so to really answer that question, it's going to depend on your environment. Would I run this gun in Iraq whenever you're doing a lot of CQB? Hell no. I would stick with the M4 because that gun is proven. This gun is meant, I would say, if you're going to carry it, it'd be for long range fights where you're getting into that all the time. So it just, and with the malfunctions and stuff I had with it, I even though we were getting fights sometimes for long range, I still stuck with the M4 just because I was more comfortable with it.
No shit, huh?
Yeah.
So were you guys going out on long range movements and then hitting a compound?
It was, yeah, so we had areas where we were going, and it was, honestly, we knew it was a Taliban controlled area. We just patrolled a contact to get in fights and push them, try to out of the area. Okay. And it was almost every single time we'd go out of the wire, we'd get in a fight and stuff. And and it was along the Arghandab River, so a lot of heavy green, a lot of lush trees and bush and growing up. So some fights might be a click away.
Yeah.
Some fights were within 100 yards. So yeah. It really depends, and I just got tired of messing with this thing, and I switched it back to something I knew that worked, and that was the M4.
Right on, man. You know, I know they have like it's like a 10.5-inch variant barrel.
Yep.
Were you guys running those at all, or were you running long barrels?
Yeah, I had the long barrel because there for a while I was running the grenade launcher attachment onto that thing. So if you're going to add the weight to it, that's a good way to add weight, but it's not really a good. It was stupid.
Yeah, with all that shit, you might as well just run a 48.
You might as well, yeah.
Belt fed.
Yep.
But, well, I mean, I think that pretty much covers it. What's your opinion on this thing? I'll bet that breaks a lot of fucking hearts out there. All right, guys, check out Jeff at Frozen Trident on Instagram. Check me out at Shawn Ryan 762 and Vigilance Elite, and we'll see you next week.